You know, another thing that I wanted to post is that I just had the thought during a therapy session today that we were reviewing where I've been and we're taking account in my sessions of the progress that I have made, and then discussing the science behind what happens to the brain when you're exposed too long to trauma and you have PTSD, and what happens when what happens to your nervous system, how your brain activity changes. And it's been shown in studies that it does impact your brain function, and it even leaves you at risk for conditions like dementia. It apparently doubles your risk. And I was just thinking about that and discussing it with my therapist. And it was interesting to review how working on memory recovery, there's different types of therapy, and the different kinds can do things like cognitive therapy, cognitive processing, EMDR, which the simplest way I can explain EMDR is basically kind of like a professional version of hypnosis. And hypnosis is very professional in and of itself. It's just more like the clinical version. And I was just thinking about therapy and the impact it's had on my brain function, and how, I'm not all the way to normal function yet. It's been a long, complex road, and I've had multiple experiences that really affected me in my experience, with PTSD, impacting my life in a lot of extensive ways. And then I have other things that I won't discuss here in this video. But it took me a moment to go, oh, I am starting to recover certain memories. And they're like good memories, things I've struggled to access for years. Like, I guess that the best way I could put it is, if you have never had PTSD, one of the ways, there are many ways to explain it, but one of the ways I would explain it to a person who is curious and has never known what that's like is that it's kind of like there's many responses, but the experiences that I've had and the responses I've had as a reaction and a pattern of preservation with PTSD is to freeze and disassociate. And memory loss is a symptom of that, of PTSD. I've had memory loss happen. It's almost like I'm sorry if I'm rambling or I'm not making a ton of sense in the most concise way. I struggle talking about this sometimes. It's a little rough, but I will say this. Having PTSD and the way it affects your brain is a lot like having certain parts of your mind dim the lights or shut off completely almost. And it feels like parts of you got hidden in the shadows, and all the parts of you that are emotional or reactive and coming to your defense to protect you are activated all the time. And the parts of you that experience things like joy, relaxation, a clear sense of direction, even a sense of the future, those feelings and those memories and thoughts, that framework gets dimmed out in your brain. And the more you work on recovering those memories and that function, the more you start to have a whole sense of self rather than this alarm system that's going off to the point that it's determining your health outcomes. And so you end up recovering a more balanced sense of self when you do the work under the right kind of treatment, of course. I have yet to say whether I will be able to fully recover myself, but I will say this: I know I'm making progress. And if you are someone who is experiencing the fallout of PTSD, of trauma, long-term complex trauma or singular event trauma, whatever resources you have available to you, use them. I believe in you, and I want you to keep going. We need you, even if you think that you're not needed and no one cares. We do. I like to remind myself that we always have something valuable to add, even if we think we're completely arrested by our traumatic reactions and responses. So I will leave you with that encouragement. You will recover yourself. Keep going. Much love.